Many would agree the most terrifying name in boxing is the name Mike Tyson. The man is synonymous with power, strength, and swift knockouts. What does it take to become one of the greatest heavyweights of all time? In addition to his natural gifts, how did Tyson construct his body and how did he fuel it? Today, we're going to dive into the incredible world of Mike Tyson's routine. As it turns out, being a legendary powerhouse requires an equally legendary, and at times almost unbelievable, training regimen. Keep watching to learn the awe-inspiring truth of how to eat and train like Mike Tyson. Background: Mike Tyson got into fighting at an early age. He grew up in a rough neighborhood in Brooklyn, where physical strength was an all-too-useful survival tool. By the time he was a teenager, he was participating in amateur fights and destroying his competition. Once Mike was 18, he made his debut in the professional sphere. He had serious potential, and he was serious about making boxing his career. So likewise, he had to get serious about his routine. Regimen overview. Over the years, Mike's dietary and fitness needs have evolved. However, throughout the pinnacle of his career, in particular the late 80s and early 90s, his regimen was more or less fixed, and it has since become the stuff of boxing legend. Tyson approached training like a full-time job. In fact, much more than a full-time job. He typically trained 50 to 60 hours per week on average. He was obsessed with being a champion and obsessed with discipline. As he himself put it, discipline is doing what you hate to do but doing it like you love it. Tyson did what he hated to do every day of the week except Sunday, his only rest day. On each of the other 6 days, he was eating, exercising, and studying fight films from well before the sun rose to well after it went down. Even his sleep schedule was unusual, deliberately customized to fit his singular goal of peak fitness. 6 days a week saw Tyson running several miles, doing several rounds of intense calisthenics, enduring multiple sparring sessions, and eating close to 4,000 calories. One interesting aspect of his daily routine is that although he is widely regarded as one of, if not the hardest punchers in history, Tyson mostly avoided weight training. Turning 4,000 calories into pure muscle with all-day calisthenics and cardio is an astonishing achievement. Let's take a closer look at a day in the life of Mike Tyson and see if either of us could last even one day alongside him. Morning. Training day begins when it is still dark out. At 4 a.m., Tyson's alarm goes off. Why so early? Well, according to Tyson, getting up early gave him an edge over his competitors. It primed him to be tough mentally. He liked the idea that he was awake while his opponents were still sleeping. Another reason, as we'll see, is that he needed the early start just to fit all his training into the day. Straight out of bed, the first task is a 30-minute stretching routine. Mike Tyson has never had a cup of coffee in his life, so stretching is his only tool for waking up. It also helps to loosen up his muscles, which is crucial for what comes next. While the sky is still dark, Tyson steps outside into the frosty air of upstate New York and runs 3 to 5 miles. 6 months of the year, there's snow on the ground. In addition to jogging through the cold, Tyson will also usually walk a couple miles to diversify his cardio routine. Daylight is only just breaking as Tyson returns home. Here we get our first surprise. Although Tyson prioritizes beating his opponents out of bed, after showering off, he gets back in bed and sleeps for several more hours. This is made possible by the total lack of caffeine, but it's also necessary to ensure Mike actually gets enough sleep overall. Breakfast. With the sun now well risen, Tyson's second alarm goes off, and this time it's for something much easier: breakfast. If you're trying to maintain your status as the world's hardest puncher, what you fuel your body with is just as important as how you use it. Having just run several miles on an empty stomach, there's no doubt Tyson will be hungry, but it isn't pancakes or waffles that await him. Instead, Tyson's staple breakfast food is oatmeal. Along with the oatmeal, he also took supplements such as fish oil and magnesium. He might also have some fresh fruit or a protein shake alongside the oatmeal. Refueled with complex carbs, Tyson now heads into the ring. Sparring. For the next several hours, he now conducts what is arguably the most important part of his training routine. Tyson steps into the ring with a sparring partner who he pays to help him train. Tyson reportedly paid his sparring partners extremely well, claiming at the height of his career to have paid as much as $2,000 per round. On a typical training day, Tyson will have between 10 and 12 sparring rounds. Then he will practice technique using pads and mitts. He is particularly fond of training with a slip bag, which he practices dodging as it swings back and forth. This enables another one of Tyson's superpowers, his nimble head movements and ability to avoid blows. Once satisfied, he moves on to calisthenics. Counter to his Hulk smash image, this stage now sees Tyson gracefully bending and balancing through different poses and movements, leveraging his own body weight to work every muscle group. Anyone who has done calisthenics knows how deceptively challenging it can be, and Mike, true to form, was famous for pushing the limit. He would often do hundreds of push-ups and sit-ups, among other moves. Lunch. Finally, by mid-afternoon, it's time for lunch. Tyson's breakfast may have been relatively light, at least by some standards. His lunch is more robust. After sweating it out in the ring and working his muscles with calisthenics, Mike needs protein. A typical Mike Tyson lunch is chicken breast, brown rice, and a glass of orange juice. This is a textbook athlete meal. Chicken breast is high in protein and low in both fat and carbs. Brown rice is the ultimate whole grain. Orange juice, though more controversial among nutritionists, is also great for Tyson, who needs the energy boost from the natural sugar and can also benefit from the dose of vitamin C. He also just really likes orange juice. What's remarkable though is that at this point in the day, Mike has probably burned close to 2,000 calories from exercise, in addition to however many he already burns naturally. He's eaten 2 meals, but he's miles away from eating even close to as much as he's expended. Back in the ring. After lunch, Mike heads back into the ring all over again. Most of us would be aiming to wind down this late in the afternoon, but this is when the Tyson training routine reaches its apex. Mike starts with heavy bag work, polishing his signature skill of earth-shattering punches. Next, he's back with his well-paid sparring partner doing mitt and pad work. Then, as if to give his sparring partner a rest, Mike continues by shadowboxing. Once the shadowboxing is over, he breaks out the jump rope, which he does for about 20 to 30 minutes. This is an old school exercise. Many of us today haven't jumped rope since we were on the playground in grade school, but Tyson was serious about it. Try it for 20 to 30 minutes straight and you'll see why. Finally, only after heavy bag work, sparring, shadowboxing, and jumping rope is Mike ready for the real workout to begin. Calisthenics. By now, it's early evening. The sun is hanging low in the sky. After everything he's already spent the day doing, Mike Tyson now begins the most legendary part of his entire regimen, a ridiculous second round of calisthenics. Hundreds more sit-ups, hundreds more push-ups, air squats, neck curls, and much more. Mike does 10 rounds of each. This absurdly rigorous session lasts several hours. By the end, he has done more than 2,000 sit-ups and air squats throughout the day. This is how Mike Tyson used calisthenics to be the king of the heavy hitters. The amount of muscle built by doing this 6 days a week is astronomical. The strongest, fittest people on the planet would struggle to keep up. The sun that rose as he finished his morning jog now sets as he finishes his calisthenics. Now, thankfully, it's time for dinner. Dinner. By sunset on training day, Mike Tyson is running at a cavernous caloric deficit. Dinner is his chance to give his body the fuel it needs to turn hours of calisthenics into muscle. In today's world, more and more people are shying away from red meat. Not Mike Tyson, not in his prime. He earned himself the nickname Iron Mike, and as such, he needs iron. Steak is a staple of the Mike Tyson dinner. High protein and high calorie, it's just what he needs at this point in the day. But Iron Mike needs more calories than just that. The second staple of the Mike Tyson dinner is pasta. This is another food that can be somewhat controversial health-wise, especially depending on how you prepare it. For Mike, pasta is all about calories and carbohydrates. He might opt for a light sauce like marina and avoid add-ons like cheese. In addition to pasta and steak, Mike will typically have another glass of orange juice. As I said, he really likes it. He also caps off his meal with a protein shake. Mike's shakes are distinctive for having no less than 6 bananas in them. 6. Bananas are high in potassium and help Mike replenish electrolytes after sweating basically all day long. Recovery. After dinner, Mike only has a few hours left to recover before going to bed and doing it all over the next day, so he opts to recover by working out some more. Mike's evening recovery workout typically consists of a 30 to 60 minute session on a stationary bike. After that, some 16 plus hours after his day began, he finally gets to do something relaxing and comfortable. Get in the hot tub. However, even in the hot tub, Mike is still working. On the TV, he watches fight footage, studying the competition and studying himself. One gets the impression Mike Tyson could not take his mind off boxing, even if he wanted to. Bedtime. Sometime around 11 p.m. or so, Mike is out of the hot tub, out of the shower, and finally ready to hit the hay. It is a rare person fit enough or strong enough to endure the all-day ass-kicking Tyson just went through, and by the end, even many die-hard athletes would be exhausted. The most remarkable thing of all when it comes to eating and training like Mike Tyson is that he would set his alarm again, get up about 5 hours later, and repeat the whole process again and again. When training for a fight, he'd only spend 1 day a week not doing this, sometimes for a dozen weeks in a row. It's rumored that Tyson was a fan of having cheat days. One assumes that if he allowed these during his intensive training periods at all, it would have been on Sundays. He supposedly likes Cap'n Crunch cereal and ice cream, but these were indulgences he could easily afford now and then. Overall, Mike Tyson's regimen was extremely personalized, so if you want to eat and train like Mike Tyson, you have to personalize a routine that is as effective and rigorous for you. Almost nobody can eat 4,000 calories, run for miles, do hours of intense calisthenics, and punch stuff from dawn till dusk 6 days a week. You almost have to be a professional to have the time, let alone the stamina. However, principles from Mike Tyson's approach can be applied to your own. Don't be afraid to get up early. For many, it's the best time to get in a workout and start the day off right. Don't be afraid to build muscle in unconventional ways. Calisthenics are underrated, and you can use them to build muscle across your entire body without a gym membership or any equipment. Pay careful attention to your diet, and instead of worrying about fads or trends, focus on calories and nutrients. Don't shy away from designing your own well-informed meal plan. And last but not least, be consistent. Mike Tyson never opted to work out only 5 days because he felt tired and figured 5 was enough. Make sure your diet and workout plan is something you can stick to every week without cutting any corners. If you do all that, even if you're not the hardest hitter in the world, you might be surprised at the benefits of eating and training a little more like Mike Tyson. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date with us. See you next time.